And as you know, we're a Crown Pod, and we start out with a fun one, Baker Mayfield. Oh, my God. This feels like, not years ago, but it feels so long ago. But Baker Mayfield, Raiders, Rams. I mean, I just had to triple check that it was Rams because Baker Mayfield and the Rams. The Rams, they brought in Baker Mayfield. Was he going to play? We didn't know. They started their other quarterback for the first drive, 3 plays, you're out. And then they brought in Baker, and it was ugly. It was a beautiful example of like how quick the NFL is and timing and the rhythm of it all. Because it would be funny. They would run a normal play, and, Baker would get the pass off, like the timing. You'd see what you'd normally see in a football field, but the pass would be like 10 yards off because Baker Mayfield hadn't worked with any of his receivers before. He didn't, know them. So it's pretty ugly, and you're kind of looking at the Raiders like, all right, I think they're going to cruise and win this game. And this, for the Raiders, this could have gotten them to 6-7, which, again, the Raiders been playing a lot better football. All their losses have been close this year. Devontae Adams has been killing it. Josh Jacobs has been going absolutely nut job. And Carr, in the year of defense in the NFL, he'd kind of been Derek Carr, which had him, poised in a good spot. That this Raiders team was really starting to get some juice that we were talking about. If they beat the Rams and they start to go, this would have been 4 in a row for them. They lose. Baker Mayfield, final drive. And man, some of the Richard Sherman was going nuts that they had the corners jammed up on the line. He couldn't believe that because it let Baker throw over the top for the touchdown pass to end the game. This ended the Raiders season. Good for Baker Mayfield, get to be king for a day. And him and McVay are like boys. They kept telling the story of they were on the same flight to the combine and they sat next to each other for 3 hours and just talked football. It's kind of fun. We like that. Good for Baker Mayfield, who gets to be king for a day. The other cool thing about the Rams is that they are playing hard. I don't think they have their draft pick. So, sometimes football, it's really tough because you're asking guys to put their body on the line, and it becomes that conversation of, if you're playing the game, play as hard, as good as you can. Some front offices or teams aren't necessarily putting their best foot forward, and the Rams have a lot of guys sitting that, that Donald's out, and, the line between injury, hurt, would they be playing if it was the Super Bowl? Maybe, I don't know. Good for Baker Mayfield to be king. Raiders, my God. I almost tweeted at CC because we've still never fully crossed that bridge. We were supposed to do an R2C2 one day, and it just never happened. Maybe one day soon. We are friends, but we've never fully linked up. It. I almost tweeted at him and been like, the emotion you feel about the Raiders right now, losing to Baker Mayfield on a final drive in a game they should have easily won.
When he found out he was on the team 36 hours earlier.
Literally 48 hours, got the playbook. That emotion, whatever you're feeling right now, know that when we're doing some Talking Yank stuff, that's similar to what we feel. I didn't do that because I was like, if CC sees this, he's not going to like that.
Yeah. And I think he vocally doesn't run his Twitter. So.
Yeah. And that's me taking.
So you'd be tweeting at Amber.
Yeah, basically. That all would have gotten lost in translation, which brought us to the rest of the Sunday slate. Let's see. Bills-Jets linking up again. The redemption game for the Bills in Buffalo. These division games, man, my buddy, I shouldn't give my buddy Emac credit because I think the theory's been out there, but the second division game, especially when there's good defenses in play, it's going to be a lower scoring game. And this was. We had one touchdown. That was the only scoring in the first half. Mike White was getting killed. He was on and off the field. We got some Flacco time. He looked rough. He looked like an old, not wanting to play in the cold Joe Flacco. Hey, final score is 20-12. The scoring in the fourth quarter, Jets 5, Bills 3. So it's just kind of one of those games. Josh Allen without a pretty stat line. Zonovan Knight running the ball for your New York Jets. Kind of an ugly Buffalo football game. Jets are 7-6. What does their schedule look like? We knew this was going to be tough. Vikings, Bills. End of the day, they're one-score losses with Mike White. They just need to keep him healthier. They've got a fun one with the Lions next week. How about that? Jets and Lions, week 15, fighting for the playoffs. I forgot to mention this, and again, I know you don't care. My fantasy quarterbacks, Derek Carr and Trevor Lawrence. I started Derek Carr in a do-or-die, make the playoffs week. He scored 2.5 points. Trevor Lawrence put up a 40-burger for the Jaguars as they upset the Titans. So that's as bad as it gets fantasy manager-wise. Derrick Henry with a couple fumbles. The Jags, man. My speech a couple weeks ago, how there's a few teams that wish that one win-loss would be so crucial to them being a part of this season. Jaguars, Raiders. Jaguars beat the Titans. Trevor Lawrence with a big boy stat line, 30 of 42, 368, 3 touchdowns against this Titans franchise that I've given a lot of credit for how they're run, and everybody likes Rabel. They had nothing going on the ground. Etienne, 17 carries for 32 yards, less than 2 yards a carry. And they were moving the ball. You see who had a big day for them, Beebs? Evan Ingram.
Yes.
Giants legend, Evan Ingram.
Yes.
11 for 162 and 2 touchdowns. The Jaguars, if the year stopped now, this would be a big step for them. Lawrence is starting to look like he's made the turn. We have to put the Urban Meyer stuff so far behind us. And they have. And, man, they deserve. Christian Kirk's having a really nice year. They kind of got killed for that signing because it was a lot of money for felt like a 3 receiver. He's had a really good year up there in receptions. And they beat the Titans. And they've got like a little bit of hope. Not real hope, but more so hope for next year as Trevor Lawrence becomes more and more the real deal. Bengals beat the Brownies in that revenge game after the Browns had beat them the first game. Watson still not anything as he's figuring himself out. But again, this is the progression you should expect for a guy who hasn't played in 2 years. Last week was very ugly. This week was better. Still not good. Again, another division rival game. It was division rivalry game week. It felt like that. Burrow is a sick puppy, man. His touchdown pass to Chase. Chase wasn't looking till the very end. He's double covered. He's not looking. And as he turns his head, the ball just hits him in the stomach. The timing, the accuracy of it. Bengals are now 9-4. Browns, another one of those teams. Deshaun Watson's back. They're 5-8. If they were 6-7, we could and should talk about them a little more, but we don't. We don't need to. Bengals are 9-4. Talk about them. They get their redemption, and good for them because again, the Browns manhandled them a few weeks back. They bounced back. Cowboys, Texans, classic NFL, 17.5-point spread. It just never goes like that. It just never does. I think when you have as guys who are as talented to play on the NFL level, and you tell them that it's not a fair fight, guys react. I mean, literally, if they have the list of the last 20 years of teams that are double-digit dogs. They almost always cover because these guys are putting, even though the Texans were 1-10-1 coming in this game, the guys suiting up and playing were suiting up and playing. And the game, they gave the Cowboys a game. They had the lead. Cowboys do what they need to at the end. They put up 10 points. Tony Pollard is, man, watching him run is so fun. The Cowboys obviously didn't get up for this game, but they got up when they needed to get the win. And a reminder, 10-3 Dallas Cowboys. How about them? 7-1 at home. Just an incredible year from them. The Lions hammer the table. Lions 34, Vikings 23. We told you when we talked about this game, the Lions were favorites over the 10-2 Vikings. The Lions have won 5 of their last 6. The Detroit Lions, the best time to be a Detroit Lions fan since blank. They're saying they made the playoffs 1 year with Matty Stafford. Again, go through the years of that franchise. I mean, 30 of the worst years of football you'll see. And they are playing some really good football right now. Again, that Jets game next week, if they can get to 500 there, Panthers, Bears, Packers, they believe in what they're doing. Dan Campbell pulled a fake punt from their own end, like their 25-yard line or something. If that gets blown up, you're an idiot. Dan Campbell, meathead coaching. He ends up looking brilliant. They beat the Vikings 34-23. The Lions are like becoming real. Goff is playing well. They just got Jameson Williams back, the wide receiver from Bama. That's a nice little add to the offense. The Lions are real, and we're going to be talking about them the next couple weeks. Man, that Lions-Jets game, playoff implications. Who'd have thunk that? Literally no one. That's kind of what the NFL has sometimes. Eagles-Giants. That's this is what Giants fans thought would happen, and it did.
Thought there'd be a longer hang-on period.
I mean,
I guess first quarter they kind of did, score-wise.
7-0 after one.
Didn't feel like it, but yeah.
Yeah, and even 48-22 is the final score, and some of those Giants scores kind of felt like letting baby bro get a couple points on the board. They're so much better than the Giants. The Eagles are 12-1. I mean, the A.J. Brown touchdown right after the drop kick punt. If you didn't see that one, that's one of the more unique highlights you'll see. This was just easy for them. Miles Sanders runs for 144. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith touchdowns. Hurts does his thing, 7 for 77 on the ground, 21 for 31. He is now your Vegas favorite to win league MVP over Mahomes. The Eagles are a force, and Giants fans are nervous as all hell. Like it's starting to look like two different seasons right now, right? They were, what were they? 6-1,
7-2,
6-1, 7-2. Now they have lost or tied 4 of their last 5 of their last 6. That follow-up Commanders game now feels like a must-win.
Yeah.
Like, if they want to go to the playoffs, you probably have to beat the Commanders and beat the Colts.
Yeah, you need those two.
I guess they can give the Vikings a scare.
And maybe the Eagles full don't care week 17. They probably don't mind being the funeral, but they maybe full don't care week 17 or week 18.
And even if they full don't care, man, I think
they're still just good.
Is Minshew the backup there still?
Still real.
Yeah. Giants fans are nervous. Go check out Talking Giants. I mean, they just got worked. Ravens Steelers.
Oh, what do you think of Miles Sanders? I feel like nobody ever talks about him.
You know what it was? There was, for Miles Sanders, there was a honeymoon period where everyone expected him to be good, like for fantasy reasons, because that's why a lot of people track a player like Miles Sanders, and he wasn't. So everyone kind of got over it, but yeah, this year he's been awesome.
Yeah, have him on one of my teams.
Well, the Eagles,
frustrating fantasy own.
They super leaned into the running back by committee for a little bit there, too much. And I think there's a little bit with running backs that they need a certain amount of touches to get in rhythm and flow and feel of the game. And I think football figured that out. But yeah, I mean, Miles Sanders, he's been incredible this year. But I think
on the whole, the numbers are great.
He hurt too many people's feelings along the way in past fantasy years, where he didn't have any touchdowns last year. He has 11 this year. So
helps.
Yeah, no, that leaves a mark. It's unfortunate that that's how we track these guys, but it's just true. Ravens Steelers. Trubisky show because Pickett goes out, head hits the turf. We hate that. So you got a backup quarterback game. Trubisky versus Huntley. I don't know. I mean, this is a Ravens-Steelers game this time of year with those quarterbacks. 16-14. Ravens win. They're 9-4. I mean, for a while there, it felt like the Ravens, they were talking about firing the coach. Like, did Harbaugh run out? They are winners of 6 of their last 7. Browns, Falcons, Steelers, and then a Bengals game to wrap it up.
Literally all of their losses are just could easily have them back and are heartbreakers.
Double-digit comebacks. Jaguars, Giants, Bills, and Dolphins. Like, Bills and Dolphins, you say, okay. Kind of, my Dolphins.
They are good.
Trevor Lawrence breakout comeback. Giants are having a nice year. But, yeah, I mean, there should be a lot more Ravens hype. I think the Bengals hype train fully started a week and a half ago. Or they beat Kansas City. It was starting. They beat Kansas City. It's gone. If the Ravens get another win, which at the Browns, we'll see what that looks like. But if they go to 10-4, you know, Justin Pennick picked them before the year. They were a sexy pick before the year. Lamar Jackson doing the Aaron Judge make my money year. Hasn't exactly gone like that.
They need him back.
But, man, 9-4.
They've happened to win the 3 of the last 4. Just they're kind of eking by. But
like I guess think about this.
They're getting the dub. If they get him back,
the Vikings are 10-3 after this weekend. The Ravens are 9-4. The Vikings had this whole hype train. Who's with us? Vikings against the world. They're a game apart, and the Ravens were like fire the coach disaster. So a lot's changed in the past 6-7 weeks. Obviously, thanks for the update, Jake. Ugly game takes us to the afternoon slate. My Broncos, miles and miles of heart. Looked like it was going to be ugly blowout. Turn off the game. Russ and the boys put up some points. Jerry Jeudy puts on a fantasy performance that'll make people remember that for years. 3 touchdowns out of him. Mahomes just has one of his silly highlight reel plays, the flip toss. Just like gets rid of it. If you saw any other quarterback do it, you'd be like, oh my God, never do that again. For him, it's right into McKinnon's paws. He goes untouched the rest of the way. McKinnon, 7 catches, 112, 2 touchdowns. He's a guy that they just bust out here and there. You're like, oh yeah. Juju Smith-Schuster having a great year. Kind of a whirlwind little career for him. Steelers. He's doing the TikTok that pisses people off for whatever reason. He's not as good. The Steelers start to stink. He's having a great year. 61 catches. I guess only 3 touchdowns. But people thought, and he was so young when he was doing what he was doing with the Steelers. He's 26. Yeah. I remember when he got drafted, I think he was like the youngest player in the draft. He was one of those guys. He was like 20 or 21, something silly like that. So he's been around a while, but he's still 26 years old. Pacheco is their lead running back. Why am I talking about this? The Broncos lose. Don't really care what it looked like. The Chiefs were going to win that game. The Broncos were going to lose.
Travis Kelce's still Travis Kelce. If we
guess,
shout out another Chief.
Guess you got your fantasy stats out of it. Niners, Bucks, Tom Brady. He's always been connected to the Niners. He's always going to end up with the Niners. He's from the area, all the family. I mean, good team versus not good team, man. 35-7. And football is such a momentum sport that there's these small moments. Mike Evans had a breakout wide open touchdown. Brady hits him. He runs there. There's an offensive holding on it. It was a tough one. It was, it's the old saying, you call offensive holding any play in the NFL. This was one of those that if they didn't call it, I think you get more of a football game. That didn't happen. They went dead. Couple 4th downs that it was there, but it wasn't there. Bucks are 6-7, and I mean, are they still leading that division?
They are.
My God, Carolina a game back, 5-8. Atlanta, a game back, 5-8. Man, Bengals, they're going to lose that. Cardinals, let's see how quickly their season falls apart. They finished Panthers, Falcons. Those are going to be games with playoff implications for both teams. That's disgusting. Brock Purdy looks pretty good for the Niners. My buddy Rob, who likes puns way too much, had so many Purdy puns. It stunk. He throws a Purdy ball. And you could do that with Brock, too. Pardon my take, guys. We're doing Brock and roll, like all that. So both sides of that guy's name works.
Gives you options.
And by the way, 16 for 21, 2 touchdowns, no picks. McCaffrey goes off on the ground. Debo was going. He had a pretty ugly injury. That was tough to watch because you know I love me some Debo. Niners 9-4. They're going to be an interesting one because people are going to love them, but a rookie quarterback has never won the Super Bowl. I think that's the stat. So if Brock Purdy is leading the ship, people just aren't going to buy it. But he's looked fine. Will Jimmy G come back? I don't know, but they are so good everywhere else. Their defense, their skill positions. The Niners are going to be such a fun one for the talking heads the rest of the way because you can go in circles the whole time. I mentioned the Panthers were going to be in the mix in their division because they beat the Seahawks. How about it? I'll be honest, wasn't as locked into this game. Sam Darnold, your quarterback of record for the Panthers. Oh my God, how much of a flip of the script would that be if the Jets season falls apart and the Panthers somehow win that mess of a division and Sam Darnold starting a playoff game? Okay, I'm kind of rooting for that. I'll be honest, wasn't in the weeds in this one. I took the Seahawks -4.5 in the Pick'em League. My win streak ends, I think it was at 9, so it had to. So screw you, Seattle. I hate you. I hate you forever. And by the way, when you start talking NFC and you think about a team like the Seahawks that you've never really believed in, and now you see what the Lions are doing, Lions fever, I think, is happening. Your nightcap, Chargers, Dolphins. I won't drink too many tears, but Chargers beat the Dolphins. Tua got off to a 3. I think he was a 3 for 17 start. And this is the whole Tua thing, man. The truth about Tua is that he's probably average-ish with some variance there. Tyreek Hill is really good. How many guys have you seen just casually grab a fumble like it was a rugby scrum and then just be faster than everyone? A lot of free agent wide receivers don't work. Apparently Tyreek Hill is kind of that guy, man, because you just get him the ball and he's on a different level. He had 1 through the air and the fumble recovery. Chargers win. They're 7-6. Dolphins are 8-5. It's kind of what I've been saying about the Dolphins the whole time. Don't put them with the great teams in the league. Don't try to put them with the Bills and the Chiefs and the Eagles. Put them with the Chargers. Put them with the Lions at this point. I think some people might still be freaked out by that, but hey, I told you this. I had this one. I don't always have this one. But they were going to beat the Bears, the Browns, and the Texans. They were going to lose to the Niners and the Chargers. And guess what? They play at the Bills next weekend. They're going to lose that game. They're going to be 8-6. Packers, who knows what they'll look like. They're coming off their bye week, I believe. Or coming this week. They didn't play. So I just have no idea how that season's going to wind down. Will it be Rodgers, Jordan Love? Who knows? Patriots, last week of the season versus the Jets. What will that game mean? Kyler plays tonight versus the Patriots. They host the Patriots. 4-8 Cardinals. We're 1-6 at home. My God, that's bad. We'll see. I need Kyler Murray to leave the game after the first play if I want my fantasy team to win, so I'm kind of rooting for that. I don't know. This is going to be ugly. New England are favorites. 6-6 Patriots. Ugh. A lot of Ramondre Stevenson tonight. So that was a football weekend. Was it a good one? I don't know. Like, what's the biggest? Like, if we were, hitting the beat report hard.
Yeah, was there like the signature win? Like Baker, and that was Thursday.
Right, that was Thursday. So it's like you already kind of hit that. I guess the Niners being this good, Brock Purdy looks all right. The Niners are the ones.
It was such a dominant win that it comes back around and was very entertaining.
Yeah, I guess Niners and Eagles are dominant.
Yeah,
Lions are fun.
The way, just Mahomes, doing silly stuff. He had that other one too. The underflip is the highlight.
Yeah,
had a couple freaky ones.
He's a freak. All right. Hope you enjoyed the NFL weekend. Hope you enjoyed whatever else you enjoyed. And we'll talk Wednesday. Hopefully some baseball breaking news, football preview, and love.